Hello. Hi. Hi. Sorry
Okay.
about the lighting
No
here.
worries.
My
You're
first
fine.
StreamYard experience. Thank you for agreeing to the interview.
Mhm.
So you've been living in Italy for quite a while. Have you ever attended any Comic Con other than Lucca?
Okay, yes, I've been to various Comic Cons, mainly around Italy. I didn't get into going to Comic Cons until I moved to Italy, and so basically all of the Comic Cons I've been to have been in Italy. But I've also been to a few Star Trek conventions in England, which is not the same thing, obviously, but
Hmm.
they have their
There is some
similarities.
overlap, isn't there? There is some overlap.
Yes, yes.
So what inspired you to start going to Comic Con?
Well, as a little girl, I always loved Halloween, which is a pretty huge holiday in the US. And when I moved to Italy, I discovered that they didn't really celebrate Halloween when I first moved here. They do sort of now, but at the beginning they definitely didn't. And I really missed being able to dress up. I love to dress up. And so one year I found that, a town that's about, half an hour maybe outside of Lucca that had a huge holiday, like Halloween festival. And they were the only city in Italy that had this kind of a festival. And so we went there, but the party was in the evening. And during the day, since we were already up there, we thought, why don't we go to this Lucca Comics things? My friend who was with us said he'd gone once when he was like, a teenager, and that it was cool. It was just this really, a lot of comics, a lot of geeky things, and he really liked it, but he'd never gone back. And so we said, sure, why not? So we went for a day, and I discovered Lucca Comics, and it was amazing. It was this whole world of, yes, comics, obviously, and games. But for me, it was the cosplay.
Mm.
I had created a Halloween costume that just so happened to be based on the Hunger Games trilogy of films and books. Actually, it's more than a trilogy now. There's like a fourth book. But anyway, I had created a Hunger Games themed Halloween costume, and I only got maybe 5 steps into inside the walls of Lucca, and people were screaming my character's name. And from that point on, I could barely walk because people recognized the character because I'd done such a good job with the costume that they're like, "Oh my God." And so I found this amazing community of cosplayers. And then, of course, with Lucca Comics and Games, you had, well, this year's a little bit different, obviously. And last year, the pandemic made it all digital. But with Lucca Comics and Games, you have all of these amazing buildings that have been dedicated to different things. So you'll have comics, and you'll have Japantown, and you'll have games, and then you have all of the shops along like the main streets. They get rented out, and they get turned into temporary shops, so you can buy all kinds of gadgets and makeup and costume accessories, and I mean, you name it, you can find it at Lucca. And obviously, it's just, it's amazing the way it takes over the entire town. It's huge. Um, and there's just so much going on. There are concerts, there are competitions, there are movie previews, there's all kinds of stuff going on at Lucca.
Well, sounds fantastic. Thank you so much. Would you give us any practical tips? Because I know it's 250,000 squeezed into a tiny, beautiful town, which I
Mhm.
have been to, but never for the Comic Con, interestingly. Uh, so, how do people find accommodation? How long in advance do you have to plan if you want to go?
Okay, so my group of friends and I, we've been going for about 7 years now. The first year we didn't book any accommodation near the town because we weren't actually going to Lucca Comics. We were
Mm.
going to this other place, and we only stayed at Lucca for like half a day. But since then, we've been going for the full duration because Lucca usually lasts between 4 and 5 days, depending on the year. It was four days, and then they upped it to 5. for a couple of years, and then this year they put it back down to 4 simply because of the global restrictions and the pandemic and all of that. But we generally book well in advance. We book probably, because we stay the entire duration and because we like to stay inside the walls. We usually book 9 months in advance, 10 months in advance. It depends. We sometimes a little bit later, sometimes a little bit earlier. We've stayed both inside the walls and outside the walls. For me as a cosplayer, it's more convenient to stay inside the walls because then I can get ready and just go outside and be in the event, and I don't have to stand in line to get in with all of my costume on, and I don't have to worry about dragging my accessories past security or anything, which if you stay outside of the walls, sometimes that happens. However, staying inside the walls is more expensive. Lucca is wonderful. I love Lucca, but Lucca is expensive. If you do go and you don't want to do the full thing, like the full, 4 or 5 days, whatever, there are also ways that you can book tickets and bus, like bus tours, like the bus will pick you up in such and such a city. You'll drive down to Lucca. Then you don't have to worry about parking. You can get off your bus. You can go to Lucca. Again, this year's a little bit different, but anyway, you can get off the bus, go to Lucca for the full day. As long as you go back and meet your bus will take you back to your city. And that's a great way to do Lucca. Some people do Lucca for 2 or 3 days, just depending on their budget and their need. I'd recommend, if you go to Lucca, try and hit the non-weekend days. The weekends, I mean, okay, it depends on what you want. If you really want to be able to go into the buildings and into the stands, and you really want to be able, especially if you're looking for comic books, or you want to sit down at one of the gaming tables, and play D&D with a group of people, or learn a new game, which you can do at Lucca. They have these amazing areas where you can actually, sit down and try out the new games. There are like actual video game competitions going on as well. There's all kinds of stuff at Lucca. But if you want to do any of that stuff and you want to, be able to have a little bit of time to breathe, it's better to go early as opposed to later. Like, the weekends get crazy. The weekends, most of the time, what I end up doing on the weekends is I go to the stands and the comic book pavilions and the games pavilions during the first couple of days of the event, and then on the weekends I just walk the walls, because the amazing thing about Lucca, if you're not familiar with the city of Lucca, is that it's a walled city, and it has these 12-foot high, I don't know how wide, walls that go all the way around the city, and that you can walk the entire length. And so a lot of the cosplayers, and again, I come at this mostly for the cosplay, a lot of the cosplayers are actually on the walls. And so if you want to see the cosplay, you just go up onto the wall and you just walk, and you'll run into anything and everything. I mean, you'll run into characters that are from manga or anime inspired, people from all kinds of, movies, books, TV series. I mean, you name it, you'll find it. Horror movies, just about anything. Disney characters, obviously, all over the place. Original characters that people have just created these amazing costumes just because they wanted to. And they're usually up on the walls with the photographers.
Lovely. One more question. So obviously it's in Italy. How well can you get by speaking only English?
Okay. I speak Italian, so I don't usually have that issue. The Italians, they don't all speak English, so you will find some difficulties. However, they are more than happy to try. You will find that 99.9% of Italians, whether they speak English or not, and a lot of them do, but even if they don't, most of them are more than happy to help, and they will try. It'll be a bit confusing maybe, but they're really sweet about it. They're not at all snobby, like, oh, you don't speak Italian, so I'm not going to speak to you. They don't do that. That's not something you'll find here. So, Lucca Comics is...
This is really informative. Thank you so much. And so it's beginning in a few days' time, isn't it? 2 weeks?
Yeah, we've got a couple of weeks left, I think. It's what, the 28th of October it starts this year. So we've got the 28th, the 29th, yeah, 28th. And
Lovely.
I will be
Mhm.
I'll be heading down to Lucca on the 26th, actually, because I didn't realize they were going to cut a day. This year's been really difficult. They didn't announce the dates until really late. And so we actually booked our room before they actually announced the dates, because you really do want to book early.
Yeah, yeah.
Book early. Hotels are going to be prohibitively expensive, but bear in mind that all the B&Bs around there are great. You can also do they'll rent out apartments for you. So if you have enough people, renting out an apartment is a great way. Staying inside the walls has its perks. Staying outside the walls is usually less expensive, and you can also stay in nearby towns. Also, because now this year at least they've done a system where you can actually book your parking space, so you can stay in the nearby towns and then drive in and park. It's like, and the nearby towns can be like half an hour, 45 minutes away, but it's not that bad.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely having you. And do you mind if I share some of your cosplay photos as an addition to our?
Yeah, no, go for it. I am.
They're absolutely amazing.
I am currently. I will give you a little preview. At the moment, I am currently working on. This is the back of it. I'm working on a coat that I will be wearing at Lucca this year. And this is going to be for any of you who know Labyrinth.
Oh yes.
So that, yeah. So the Muppet movie from the 80s with David Bowie in it. Jareth,
and I was like, this is him. Amazing. So do you make your outfits by hand?
I modify my outfits by hand. A lot of times I purchase garments that are already made, because I can't actually sew, unfortunately. If I could sew, the world would be a whole different thing, but I can't actually sew. However, I usually purchase things and then I modify them. An example, this jacket that I was showing you now, right? I purchased this on Etsy. I found an Etsy seller that made it just the blue, just basic blue. And then I have been slowly covering it with gems and things to give it this other effect.
This is very elaborate.
It is. Well, the original costume is very elaborate. So, it's a lot of work. But with the trusty glue gun and a little bit of creativity, you can do a lot. That's the other thing. Also for cosplay, don't think you have to be at this amazing level and you always have to have, this super expensive, super complicated costume. No, cosplay comes at all levels. Don't let anyone tell you different, because then they're gatekeeping and we don't want that. Cosplay can be, if you see a character that you really like, that character in their comic book or their film or whatever wears jeans and a t-shirt. Well, wear jeans and a t-shirt and that's your costume. You can do cosplay at all levels. So sorry, that's just my own little soapbox. People.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you've been, you prepare for the whole year, really. So
you do. Some people do. Some people have a lot more money than others, honestly. Some people can afford to purchase or make or have made for them really amazing, really complex things. Other people do it all by hand. Some people are much better at sewing and creating things by hand. Some people are really good at making like armor, which I can't do at all. But the idea is that it's, you choose a character that you love and then you pour, your passion into it. Some money, because you're not going to get it for free, but you don't have to spend tons. As long as you put your passion into it and then you take it to Lucca and you wear it proudly, then you'll find success as a cosplayer.
Have a lovely time. Thank you so much.
So you've never been to Lucca during Lucca Comics?
No, that's a weird thing. I've been there as a tourist, and I only recently found out that there is a massive Comic-Con there. So that's something to take off.
Someday, honestly, if you ever get the chance, you have to come back during Lucca Comics, because Lucca is an entirely different city during Lucca Comics. I've been to Lucca both during Comic-Con and after. I'm telling you, it's two different cities. Like I will walk the same streets and be like, have I been here
I bet,
before?
yeah.
Because, you know, like I say, even the shops change because the shop owners will take out all of their merchandise and pack it away and let, you know, a whole different shop with a whole different type of merchandise come in and use their space
Mhm.
for the duration of Comic-Con. So you won't even find the same shops. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, completely transformed. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Have a lovely time.
You too. Oh, you too. Well, you too when you
I will.
come.
I
And
will. I will at some point. Take care.
okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.